back to another episode
Hi there.
of Film Focus with me, Fred Black.
Me, Anthony Squire.
And yeah, this week we're looking at 2 more cinema releases and 5 more glorious trailers picked from...
I don't think glorious is the right word, but maybe not.
Well, compared to the ones we could have been reviewing.
Oh yeah, Street Dance.
Yes, Street Dance, that's not exactly...
Anyway, that takes us on to the world's end.
Yeah, Street Dance will lead you to the world's end. Yes, The World's End is our first film, the Simon Pegg and Nick Frost film, directed by Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
The final film in their fabled Cornetto trilogy, which is apparently what they called it.
Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
And now we got The World's End with more mishaps in small towns.
Simon Pegg basically plays a loser character who wants to reunite his old friends from school and complete the pub crawl they did.
Yeah, back when they were 20 years ago, they did a pub crawl called the Golden Mile through their hometown of Newton Haven.
But they never made it to the World's End.
No, they only made it to about 7 pubs or something, didn't they?
Yeah, not all of them even made it to that point.
Yeah, so they then decide to go back 20 years later. He convinces everyone, reluctantly, to go back and try the Golden Mile again. Unfortunately, they also happen to be in the middle of a robot invasion.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do. And they then have to try and survive the night, being taken over, not being taken over by a crazy robot.
I mean, there's 5 friends in total. 4 of them have gone on to become pretty successful people. Simon Pegg's character, was it Jake King? Or Gary King?
Gary King,
Gary King.
The King. He
hasn't changed at all since school. He really idolises this pub crawl. And you find out later on in the film that it's a little bit darker.
Yeah, like you were saying to me earlier on, you thought it was just a lot more darker than Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, they were good laughs. This one, it was a good laugh, but it was actually quite dark as well. Especially,
I say it's quite dark in places. I mean, I went to see this with my brother, like the beginning of the week, and we were laughing our asses off most of the way through. I mean, the snappy dialogue was one of the big things that kind of hit me straight away. That they didn't really let up for a second. It was very fast-paced dialogue, especially when they were kind of setting up the pub crawl when they were on their way down, and they had that talk about novels and the Bible and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that was something that was very different from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. Was incredibly snappy dialogue, very quick-paced dialogue, rather than it was a bit more slow-paced in their earlier films.
Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, they were sort of light-hearted humour. This one, I mean, what's his name?
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, they do like a role reversal in this one.
Yeah, I think as the films have gone on, the way they've played off each other has got stronger, but they play characters that don't really relate to each other. Like the first Shaun of the Dead, they're best friends.
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz, they don't know each other, and
but they become friends over time.
And
this one, they were friends, but then Nick Frost's character is forever bugged by some accident that happened.
Yeah, some drinking accident. And yeah, they play people who, Nick Frost utterly despises Simon Pegg in this film, and it works really well. And it's probably because they've been, in real life, they've been best friends for years, so they know how to play off each other like that. But yeah, the acting, especially in this, is top quality. You've got people like Martin Freeman, who's been big with The Hobbit recently.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, a great cameo by Pierce Brosnan as well. He's not in it for very long. He's only in it for 5 minutes, if that.
Yeah, 5-10 minutes. But he does have some good lines in it.
And yeah, he's a very good character in it.
I mean, I thought the film had it was trying to give a message at the end of how much technology controls us.
There was a little bit of that at the end, yes, and there was also there's some kind of rant about the human race not being perfect, but right at the end. But we don't want to spoil anything for you guys if you want to see it, which I would really recommend you do go and see this film, because
I think it's worth seeing at least once.
I'd see it more than once, because it's great. It moves along at a really good pace. It takes time to set up the robots and set up the 5 separate characters that they have.
But it doesn't race into it.
No, it doesn't.
It takes the time needed to do it.
Yeah, and especially the fight scenes as well, because this is probably they're probably some of the best bar fights I've seen on film. And Edgar Wright knows how to direct a fight scene.
Yeah.
Like, especially like when Nick Frost goes completely, he does go completely apeshit in the film at one point, and they have this massive long fight. It doesn't quite rival the length of Pacific Rim's fights, but
no, this wasn't Pacific Rim.
No, but it's the same kind of. The fights are so kind of complex in there. Like, you know, you've got 5 different characters fighting different groups of robots, and you don't feel lost at any point. It's all.
No, it doesn't give you a chance to. It doesn't deviate from the story. You know, some films they'll suddenly go off some random narrative or some random speech.
Like, here's a fight for no reason.
Yeah,
but all these fights are kind of central to the plot and
interlinked.
They do, yeah. But they are shot really well. It's like, you know, they're really fun fight scenes, and there's all little jokes just slipped in there as well, mostly through Simon Pegg. But yeah, it's a great film.
I think it was good. I don't think it was as good as Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead, but it's still worth seeing at least once. And that's why I gave it 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I might need to see Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz again, as I haven't seen them in a while. But in my mind, this is probably like, it's the fitting end to the trilogy. You know, even though they're not interlinked in any way, really, apart from the Cornetto references.
Jumping the fence.
Yeah, but I think it's easily the best one of the lot, in my mind. Although I haven't seen Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz in a while, so...
I mean, personally, I think Hot Fuzz is the best one.
Yeah. We'll differ about that later. But yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I gave it an 8 out of 10. As I say, like, I went to see it with my brother. We had such a laugh. It was absolutely hilarious. I mean, we've seen a couple of comedies now. We've seen a couple of family comedies at the cinema for the show quite recently. But of all the films I've seen this year, this has generated the most laughs from me, and most kind of like wholehearted, like it's not funny because it's bad. It's just funny, full stop. And yeah, it's a little bit darker, like you said.
I think it's a lot darker.
I don't mind that. It kind of adds to that little bit of a humour.
I mean, I love the atmosphere at the end of it with the kind of Fallout 3 style.
Ooh, okay, we'll put a pin in that because we don't want to ruin anything for people who haven't seen it. Come on, it's not like this is like when we were used to do the show DVD. They've had plenty of opportunity to see it, but now got to kind of keep it.
Ignore what I just said. It's got nothing to do with Fallout 3 at all.
Stop saying that. But yeah, no, I would definitely recommend going and seeing this film. It's a very, very good film. Can't really praise it enough.
It's good.
Anyway,
I didn't think it was amazing.
Don't listen to him. Just go see it. Don't listen to my esteemed colleague here.
And I think it's as great. You just ain't making it out to be.
Well, I think it is definitely the better film of this week.
Moving on to the trailers.
Right, the trailers, yeah, because I've not got my list with me today, so I'm not sure what order we're going in. So, please, Anthony, reveal the first trailer we're going
Escape Plan. It's got Arnie and Stallone in it.
Okay, here we go. I thought, why did I know you'd start off with this film? Yes, Escape Plan has, like, Stallone and Schwarzenegger acting together again for, like, the first time. Well, they did it in The Expendables too, but, you know.
Yeah, but this is, like, another film.
Now Arnie's had his political career out the way.
Arnie's back where he belongs.
Yeah, Arnie's back on the silver screen. And this one has Stallone as someone... I'm not sure if he's actually a prisoner or if he's just...
Someone
or if
employed to see if he can break out of the prison.
Yeah, and essentially he breaks out of all these different prisons and someone sets him up and locks him in this high-tech maximum security prison where it's apparently inescapable.
Yeah, but Arnie and Stallone are in there now. Yeah,
and it wasn't really made clear like how he befriends Arnie or whether, you know, Arnie was an old friend of his or anything like that.
I think that was good, but the trailer didn't give too much away.
Yeah,
and I really want to see this when it comes out.
And they're now tasked of breaking out this prison. Yeah, I'll see it. It's going to be a stupid film. It's going to have a lot of, you know, stupid laughs in it.
Oh, come on. Expendables 2.
Yeah, I could like the scene in the first Expendables film where you have Stallone and Schwarzenegger talking to each other.
Oh, in the church.
Yeah, in the church, and they kind of just like jive. They kind of like rip each other a little bit. Like they kind
I love that when they're standing in the church, the door opens up, a ray of light shines in.
Yeah, it's like God has returned, ladies and gentlemen. But I have a feeling like this film will be them two kind of making fun of each other again, just because, you know. They've been in films they've been in stupid action films as long as they have, and they're like big rivals. So it'll be a good laugh just for that. Yeah, I was excited to see this film. I don't know when did we get a note of when it came out, or
I cannot remember.
No, neither can I. We'll look it up afterwards and make notes. We're like, need to see this film right now. Next trailer, Anthony.
Next trailer. Gravity.
Oh yes.
Now this was a good trailer because it wasn't really. They basically took a scene from the film, and
they did put it in. But I saw a trailer for this like a week or so ago at the cinema.
What happened in that one?
It was essentially like pretty much. It's not the same thing, but it's essentially like quiet mission in space, and then everything goes wrong. And it's from the director of Children of Men, which was the Clive Owen film a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
It was a pretty weird little film.
It was
but
okay.
yeah, this. Sorry?
It was okay.
Yeah, it's okay. But, yeah. But this one sees two astronauts. It's got George Clooney and Sandra Bullock in space, and then the idea is something goes wrong and they start falling down towards Earth.
The trailer ends on sort of a cliffhanger. One of the astronauts just
flies off into
space, and then ka-ching, that's it.
Yeah. It looks like it's going to be just like a kind of incredibly stripped down thriller. Like, it's going to be very bare minimum casting, like, two
It's
people.
got potential. It could be one of those ones where the trailer turns out to be better than the film.
Well, yes,
I really hope there's not going to be some ridiculous...
Yeah, just like there's a ridiculous kind of saving grace at the end of it, just like, okay, this is how they were saved by some random passing thing. Like,
a woman who flies off into space, but luckily...
she flies back!
There was another spaceship up there which we didn't know about, but hey, what can you do?
Yeah, well, hopefully it won't turn out like that. But yeah, it was a very interesting trailer, definitely, and
I liked it.
I looked, especially on the big screen as well. Seeing it in the cinema on the big screen, you're just like, okay, wow.
That's good. It kept you.
Yeah, like most of the trailers, because we see the same trailers like most of the time when we go to cinema, don't we?
Yeah.
Because we're seeing the
same.
I'm
so glad I haven't seen the street dance one.
Big screen. Well, that's the thing. We were talking about that. Well, I was pretty sure we saw that film. Like, that film was released a few years ago.
I remember last year there was a trailer for another street dance type film, but it was like more like it was a competition, but it was just so ridiculously over the top. Like life and death scenarios depended on if people could dance properly.
And if that came down to us, the world would end because I can't fucking dance.
Moving on to the next trailer.
Yes, what is the next trailer? Number 3 of 5.
Extracted.
Oh yeah. Because we were going through quite a slew of shit trailers this week. Like we were kind of losing all hope, and then Extracted came along.
And this one, technology has been developed which allows people to, if I understand it right, go into people's minds, but someone broke or something and they're trapped in someone's mind.
Yeah. Well, this
or
thing
their
is
imagination, is it?
He's developed something this guy's developed something that can allow him to go into his own memories and relive his own memories. But someone else wants him to use it on someone who's accused of a murder, or he's accused of a murder or something, and they want him to find out whether he actually did it or not.
Yeah.
So he goes into this potential killer's memories, and he gets trapped in there. So he has to kind of either live out all the memories or prove he's innocent and stuff. But that plot-wise aside, it actually looked really it looked stylish. It looked well done, and it is incredibly interesting.
And a fair sense of originality about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a trailer. I might be wrong, but
yeah, they might just rip off the plot of some other entirely. But from what we saw, it looked very original and very, very interesting. It's definitely kind of need to check it out whenever it comes out.
I cannot remember.
No, we can never remember these things.
I know. I promise next time I'll write down the dates.
We'll have all the dates down, even the ones for street dance.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Go number 4. If you can remember it, if you can find it.
47 Ronin.
Yes, I was
another Matrix, basically.
Yeah, except this one was kind of set in samurai Japan.
Yeah, but it had the same lines. You are the chosen one, and there can be only one, and just that sort of stuff.
That's Highlander.
Mix and match.
But no, this film has Keanu Reeves as some sort of slave samurai who gets freed by these Ronin who are samurai without masters. So there's 47 of them, and they decide to take down this kind of fantastical empire full of like wizards and witches and stuff.
Do.
Well, yeah, and like there wasn't really that much like emphasis on the plot as there was on the special effects and
action, special effects.
You can't deny it looked really good. I mean, you have like with all the kind of robes transforming into like dragons and snakes. How many
films do you see where it looks good, but the plot? I mean, Superman, which came out this year, is an example of that.
This is true. I mean, I haven't seen Man of Steel yet, so I can't comment. But
not a touch on the Christopher Reeve Superman.
We're going to at least mention that once every episode, aren't we?
I haven't mentioned number 4.
Not yet. Anyway, but yeah, 47 Ronin. I was very, very excited for. I mean,
I'm not really that bothered about it. I mean, I'll see it when it comes out, but I'm not in a rush to see it.
Yeah, you need to go see the trailer because it was visually stunning. And the last one we had, what is the last one we had, Anthony?
I Declare War.
Oh yes,
this one.
I Declare War.
Basically, a bunch of kids running around with bazookas and machine guns.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if they were imagining it or.
I think that's the idea. I think the idea is these kids are just out in the woods playing a game of war or something like that, and it's seen through their minds. So everything is like they're holding real guns and real rockets and grenades.
You see in the trailer when you see it's like,
yeah, and they're all like they're all getting really injured but obviously it's fake because they're just children playing a game.
Well, yeah, the trailer ends with them saying, "What are you going to have for tea tonight?"
Yeah, what are you going to do after war? It's like, well, I'm going to go back to mine, have some pizza, watch some TV. Brilliant.
I'm curious about this one. It looks like fun.
Yeah, it would look like good fun. It was a very interesting little trailer, and yeah, definitely not what I was expecting because you look at the kind of thing, I was like, it looks like some sort of meaningful documentary or something like that, but. And then you watch the trailer, it's completely sideswiped me, completely took me by surprise. And yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. Unlike the next film, that did not take me by surprise at all.
The Wolverine.
The Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman is back. Indeed
he is. I mean, he made a brief cameo in the new X-Men First Class. They tried to recruit him and he's like, no, fuck off. But now he's back with his own like Wolverine tale.
It's like a sequel to X-Men 3 because obviously the character Jean Grey makes cameos.
Yeah,
and then you've got Charles Xavier and Magneto. They also make cameos.
Yeah, which highlights that's right at the end. There's a scene after the credits, so stick around in the cinemas. There's a scene after the credits where
it's going to link it to the X-Men Days of Future Past, which comes out next year.
This is a new. I think it comes out later this year, actually.
Really?
I think it's actually quite soon. They did Comic-Con.
It's going to come out November, December time.
I think so. Yeah, it's fairly soon. They're all done with like promotional posters and stuff.
The good news is Bryan Singer is back directing it.
You can take that how you want, but we are talking about the Wolverine right now, which sees Hugh Jackman reprising his role as the Claude Master, the Claude Maniac. And he travels to Japan to repay an old debt.
Someone he saved from an explosion.
From the nuclear blast at Nagasaki.
Yeah.
And this old guy is now dying and wants Wolverine's regenerative powers to kind of help him live longer.
This film was good. It moved at a good pace, good action scenes. I mean, like you were saying earlier, it's only rated, 12? But it's pretty violent in some parts.
Oh, God, yes. Like, I don't know if they should have rated it like a 15 or something. I know because it's a Marvel superhero, they all kind of like, all those films get like the 12 rating because, you know, the kids want to go and see it. But, Jesus Christ, the things he does in this film, like, no matter the amount of people he obviously kind of slashes and stabs with his claws, but there's like stuff where he has to like pretty much do heart surgery on himself, and there's needles going in bones and shit like that. It's pretty brutal stuff at times.
It's still good, though.
Oh, it's still good, but, like, would you take a child to see it?
Depends how old they were.
It depends, yeah. Like, I suppose it does, but Jesus Christ, like...
I mean, I wouldn't take a 5-year-old to see it.
I want to see Wolverine. No! But, aside from that, like... I don't know, the Wolverine series has kind of got into a bit of a rut, I think. It seems like we've seen it all before. We know the character is always troubled and, you know...
Well, he's always going to be troubled by something.
Yeah, he's a troubled kind of, loner, but now it's just kind of getting to that stage with, okay, we don't need more of that, we need more of like the action.
This film's much, much better than
it was
X-Men
better than
Days of Origin Wolverine.
Yeah, the Origins
came out,
film
I think, was that 2009? I think so.
It's been a while because they did that and then they did the reboot. They did First Class and now they've got this. But yeah, it was... I don't know, it was all just kind of a bit...
What, did it move too fast?
It didn't, no. It moved at an alright pace and it set up characters and everything rather well, but it was all just a bit bland, I guess.
Bland?
Yeah, like I've only seen this morning. It took me all week to see this film, so I'm still kind of reeling over it, like kind of going through it in my head. But I was just kind of distinctly like, all the action scenes, they looked nice. You know, the one on top of the bullet train was
really good.
That was well done. I mean, that was actually part of like a big long sequence of action scenes. Like, you know, they had like, it starts off with the funeral, doesn't it?
Yeah. The
funeral they attend, then they go straight through that, through chasing through the streets, and then onto the bullet train, and it kind of continues for a while. I just think, like, one, they've been building up Viper for ages, and she's not in the film half as much as you'd like her to be.
She should have been in it more.
Yeah, because she pops up, like, right at the start of the film. She is in it, like, right from the start, isn't she? And then she kind of gets just tiny little snippets of screen time, and then she's the bad guy right at the end. And it's like, really? Like, you didn't want to develop her and make her like a big bad guy?
I mean, like I was saying earlier, I think the best X-Men sequel I'd seen was X-Men 2.
You're trying to goad me into... You're goading me into it. It's like, I know it's not 2, it's number 3, because they get down and they do shit. They actually fight things.
They do fight things in number 2.
Well, yeah, but not after a bit of, oh, I shouldn't use my powers, people will see me. There's lots of that in the X-Men series, which is why I hated the first 2 films, because they're all just like, oh,
what are you talking about?
They do.
Number 2 was brilliant. Brian Cox as General Stryker.
Yeah, but even so, you've got like the teenagers going, oh, we shouldn't use our powers, especially Rogue. Like, Rogue was just whinging all the time. Like,
yeah, but she's a woman.
Wow, that's okay. Let's not go there.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Nah, you shouldn't have said that. That's gonna come down on us like a ton of bricks, mate. But anyway, the Wolverine, like, it just all seemed a bit like kind of done it all before, seen it all before. Even like they changed the setting drastically. They went to like Tokyo and Japan, and they had all this like kind of potential to do all these sorts of weird, you know, Japanese stuff with it.
But it moved at a really good pace. You didn't get bored.
Well, no, but I wasn't overly excited by it either. It is just bland, middle of the road kind of Marvel stuff.
What, just an average sequel, you reckon?
Yeah, I wasn't kind of, you know, at no point did I just think, oh, that's like one of the standout scenes of the, you know, that's one of the standout fights of the year. And speaking of the fights, if the cameraman could have just pulled back a little bit at times and just kind of stood back.
Good.
The thing is, you didn't. I got a little bit confused as to, like, you know, what move they're meant to be doing, because they set like this ninja person. He like says, I can't remember what her name is. It's the stupid one. But this woman he teams up with has all these has all these really kind of good like flip moves and stuff, and she's flipping off walls. Yeah. But you don't get to see them fully because the cameraman is right up in the face and like right up in all the action.
Not
like,
quite that bad.
It was like there's just sloppy editing somewhere as well. Like, you know, you just couldn't. I couldn't really make out the action scenes that well.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. I think it moved at a really good pace. You saw clearly what was happening, and we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
Well, it's not going to be one of our Fright Night episodes, is it? Where like, I mean, I gave it like a 6. I mean, it was pretty much middle of the road. I mean, you know, it's not as bad as Origins, but I wouldn't say it's as good as any other Marvel film that has come out recently. It's like, you know, it's not a patch on First Class. First Class was really entertaining and did something quite different with everything.
Well, yeah, that's kind of rebooting the franchise. Yeah,
but if they're setting it up to be, you know, Wolverine will come back into the new X-Men film, they probably could have done a little bit more rather than have like a filler film for him.
I gave it a 7. I think it moved at a really good pace. It didn't waste time dragging things out. You know, some films drag out the emotional stuff. This one didn't do that. It wasn't amazing, but it was good, and I think it's worth watching.
Yeah, I would go watch The World's End again rather than
I wouldn't
the
go
Wolverine.
watch The World's End again.
But yeah, so kind of flipped up again on our scores. I still think The World's End is the better film this week, and you are obviously disagreeing with me. The Wolverine being the better film this week.
Yeah.
I wonder what we'll think next week with the films. We're looking at this, like, this week is a bit quiet until, like, midweek, and we've got The Heat with Sandra Bullock and...
Sorry, I've got the Comedy Channel, and they keep playing the same bloody jokes.
They keep playing the same trailer for it.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, every time I've gone into the cinema, like, the past 3 weeks, they've been showing the trailer for it. So I'm pretty much well-versed in a lot of jokes. And
I hate it when they do that, because you see the same joke again and again and again and again and again. By the time you get to see it...
It's from the guy who did Bridesmaids. This does not bode well, because we hated Bridesmaids, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
we did.
This is going to be like... I'm going to be very surprised if I come out of this film like saying, oh, I actually found it funny. Plus, we're going really family-friendly next week with The Smurfs 2.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm surprised. I was surprised. You said this like while we were watching the trailers, and like I'm surprised you said that. Like
I'm looking forward to it. It just looks so ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's going to be good. Well, touch wood. Hopefully, it'll be good.
Yeah, like I know a couple of people at my work are excited to see it. Well, they've got young kids as well, so obviously they're kind of excited to go see it with them. But me, like, I've not seen the first Smurfs film. The Smurfs have never really been like in my childhood or anything, so. I don't know, it's just another... It seems like just another random family film to go see. But we'll see, I might like it at the end of the week, you know. I might come back on Sunday, next Monday, and think completely different.
You never know.
You never know. But anyway, we shall end it there, and you can expect those film reviews up next Monday. So until then, see you later, guys.
Take care, guys. And sorry again.
And sorry again. For what?
My comment earlier.
Oh, yeah.